you've been assigned an email address as part of your Odin account. You can send and receive email using the program Alpine. So in order to use Alpine, log in using SSH as normal, and then type ALPINE into the terminal, okay, and it will load up Alpine. Now, the first time it might actually have a welcome screen, but once you are a regular user of Alpine, it will open up and it will show you a list of all of your folders. You'll probably start out with just an inbox or maybe inbox and sent mail or something like that. Okay, in order to go into any of these folders, you can use the arrows in order to select them. And then once you have chosen the folder that you want to enter, and normally that's going to be your inbox, you simply type enter, and it will take you into your inbox, and it will basically start at the place that you last were. Okay, in order to read a message, you simply type enter and opens up the message. Okay, and in order to exit that, you can either use the side arrow to go back to the folder list or back to the directory list, or you can use the less than symbol, which is basically the same thing, at least in that point. In order to send a message, by the way, when you look at the bottom of every screen, you're going to see a list of what Alpine thinks is the most appropriate commands for where you are right then. There is usually also an O, which gets you to other commands, and then there's some other commands that might not show up there, but that are available. In order to send a message, the command that you're going to need is C for compose, okay? And that puts you to the message composition screen. At this point, you're automatically set up at the to prompt, okay? This is where you enter the address of whoever it is you're going to send it to. If you are sending it to somebody that has an account on Odin, and if you know their username, you simply type their username. So type in the username that you want to send to, and then go to another screen or go to another line, and Alpine will automatically autocomplete the correct address. If you were trying to send to somebody that is not on Odin, then you're going to need to type the entire address out. Okay, same thing for CC if you're sending a carbon copy. If you want to make an attachment, then what you do is you go to the attachment line, and the easy thing to do there is hit Control T, which will give you a listing of all the possible things that you can attach. Okay, so it's basically files in your directory. Okay, and you can travel through the directory tree if you have reason to go to something else. Okay. All right. So you choose a file. Okay, it attaches it. Type in a subject and type the message. Okay. All right, now I don't want to send this to Jay, so I will send it to me instead. And again, it will autocomplete. And then to actually send the message, you hit, well, okay, if you decide, oh, never mind, I didn't want to send this, then you would hit Control C and it would abandon the message. Okay, if you want to send it, you hit Control X. Okay, and it asks, do you want to send the message? You say yes. Okay, no subject, send anyway. No, I think I probably need to put a subject in there. Try it now. Okay, send the message, yes, boom, it sent it. Okay, and give it a little bit of time and it will show up. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look and see if that message has showed up. Okay, there it is. So we take a look and we see that we have the message and the attachment. In order to actually see the attachment, okay, we would type V, okay, and it shows us the parts of the message, including the attachment. Normally, you would save the message if you wanted to keep it. So you would type an S, and it would save the file in your home directory. Okay, Now let's go to the main menu of Alpine. To do that, we use the less than symbol, okay, which acts just like an arrow, but it gets us a little bit more than the regular arrow does, because the regular arrow won't take you back to the main menu, okay? So we are at the main menu. In order to get back to the folder list, you would simply highlight folder or type L, and that will take us back to where we were. But you might also want to look at help if there's more that you want to learn about. You can directly compose a message from here, although you can do it from anywhere in Alpine. And if you want to do a little bit fancier setup, type S. Go into configure, and there's a lot of configuration stuff that you can do. I'm not going to go into any detail on that. This is something that you can explore on yourself, on your own. Don't get carried away. You can break things, but mostly you can also make it so that it works the way that you want it to. One slightly more advanced capability involving Alpine, and that involves if you need to look at attachments that are graphical in nature, then you need to have some way of getting graphics set up on your end of the connection. Okay, this is already set up if you're using the lab computers. Exactly how to set up your computer with an X server is maybe a little bit more advanced and is beyond the scope of what I'm going to talk about right now. But if you are using one of the lab connections, one of the lab computers, or you have set up your computer to have X11 forwarding using SSH, then this is what you do. Okay, from the lab computers, you would type in at your own end. Okay, you haven't connected to Odin yet. Type SSH-Y, capital Y. Okay, and then your username at odin.cs.csub.edu. Now, if you are doing it from your from a lab machine, you don't actually have to put the .cs.csub.edu because the lab machines already know that. If you're coming from somewhere else, then you need to type the entire part in. Okay, that brings you to a terminal, just like always. Okay, but in the background, it has set up a tunnel between the graphics subsystem on Odin and your X server. Okay, so now we start Alpine just like we always would. Okay, and open up our inbox, and let's go to the message that we sent earlier. Okay, because we put an attachment on there that had a picture on it. Okay, so we type V to look at the attachment. Actually, what V does is it lets you look at all the parts of the message, including attachments. If you want to save it, you would type S here after we've highlighted the picture that we wanted to save. Okay, that we attached. But in this case, we don't want to save it. We want to look at it. Okay, and since we have the graphic stuff set up, that will work. So we simply type enter. It will ask, do we want to view the selected attachment? If it is an attachment that has a program assigned to it, and in this case it does, then we simply type Y and it will launch that viewer command, which may take a moment or two to load up. And it will normally be a different window than your Alpine window, so you'll need to look at that window. Okay, and there we are. That's our image that was included in that. Okay. One last thing that we need to talk about, and that is when you get done with Alpine, you should always exit out of Alpine. Don't exit out of the terminal window, exit out of Alpine, okay? Because if you exit out of the terminal window, what you're doing is you're leaving Alpine running in the background, kind of as a zombie. And then the next time you connect in and load up Alpine, there's already an Alpine running. And so you have more than one Alpine that's trying to connect to your inbox. And if you're having trouble with it, doesn't want to load the inbox, that's the reason. Okay, so what you need to do in that case okay, is you the symptom is you're trying to get into Alpine and it's really slow to load, and either the inbox doesn't load or it takes a long time. Then what you need to do is you need to kill those old versions of Alpine and you need to delete any log files. Okay, so I've created a very simple program that you can run called Fix Pine. Just type Fix Pine at the terminal. Okay, it will clean up any copies of Alpine that you had laying around, and it will delete all the lock files that might exist. Okay, then the next time you log in, it should be fairly straightforward and easy for you to be able to connect to Alpine.